Well, welcome back, everyone. My next guest has been on with me a few times, also on my television show. I have with me Scott Rulon, and he is the owner of Rulon Financial. Welcome to the show. You have to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you specialize in and what we're going to talk about today.
You know, what I like to tell people today is I give you an education on education.
I love that. I absolutely love that you came up with that. So you specialize in helping their kids get through, college almost scot-free.
Absolutely. So there's two types of aid we have available in college. One is merit-based aid, and the other is need-based aid. Need-based aid is absolutely dependent on finances, but guess what? Merit-based aid is based on your test scores and your grades, two far different things.
Now, we've talked about this before. When should someone think about talking with you?
Well, we always have a joke, and we say right after your child is born and we know what their grades are and their test scores are going to be. But in absence of that, when's the right time? Now, while you're thinking about it.
Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. You do a free consultation with everyone, right? And we're going to open up the lines to offer that to people that are listening, because why is it so important that they talk to you first? Like I say every time you're on, I only wish I had two that have plenty of student loans right now. They owe tons of money. If I knew you, that wouldn't have happened.
Absolutely. So we like to teach people how to plan for college. What we say is a fool with a plan is better than a genius with none. So the point is we need to start planning early, and we need to start planning often for college. I wanted to talk a little bit today about one of those subjects we don't always talk about with college. It's called graduate school. How many of your kids want to go on to the medical profession after school? You know, one of the interesting things is my office is not too far from one of the major medical universities called Midwestern. There are a lot of kids that go to school there for occupational therapy, for physician's assistants, and all kinds of things. And you know what kind of loans they're coming out of there with? Over $100,000.
That's nuts.
You want to see some panicked parents and students come in after that? They say, Scott, how am I going to pay for this? I got a $60,000 to $65,000 job, and you want me to pay how much per month for the next 10 years?
It's sad. But really, I mean, we want them to go to school. We want them to go to grad school. We want them to get the best education that they can. But who can afford it?
Yeah, and there's actually some interesting ways to do it.
Let's talk about that.
So I actually have a client that went through Midwestern. They got their physician's assistant degree, and guess what? They didn't pay a dime for it. You know how they did that?
No.
They decided they were going to commit 5 years to the military. And in trade for doing that, guess where he got to go? He got to be a PA in Sicily.
Oh, my God.
And so they are still clients to this day. I talk to them on a regular basis in my tax practice. But guess what? Did you want to have $100,000 in loans when you get out of college? I don't think so. No. So there are other ways to do that. Otherwise, regarding the military, let's say you go into ROTC. I know that there is a university called Embry-Riddle up in Prescott, and if you go into ROTC, they will pay a large portion of your tuition, up to $17,000, believe it or not.
Let me give you his phone number. Write it down. 602-824-2299. It's Rulon, R-U-L-O-N, financial.com. This number is probably the most important number you'll ever write down. Seriously. If you've got kids, and you've got kids that are going to go to college, and by the way, they even might not show it, but all of a sudden they do, and of course you want them to go, give Scott a call. Just let him help you and show you how he can save you. You did it with your own son.
Absolutely. So it's not all about getting the one big scholarship. Sometimes it's about putting 4 or 5 smaller scholarships together that can equal a big one. Because many times politically, a university cannot give out a whole bunch of big ones, but what they can do is they can go to a lot of different buckets of money and find a way to do it. In the case of my son, they were offering extra money if you wanted to go into a STEM program. That has a lot to do with engineering, by the way.
Well, the number to call him, 602-824-2299. It's RulonFinancial.com. FAFSA, what are we going to talk about with that?
Well, FAFSA is really important. You know what the biggest mistake on FAFSA is? It's not filling it out. So I actually had a friend of mine, I talked to him on the phone, and I said, hey, Gary, has your son filled out his FAFSA form? And Gary says, what's that? So guess what? We filled out one of these forms for his son, Josh, and we got him a $5,000 Pell Grant. guess what? That paid for his first 2 years in junior college.
Yeah, and by the way, we want people to know, too, that we're talking graduate school today, but we're also talking any college, doesn't matter. Also trade.
Absolutely.
And junior college.
Yeah, don't forget there's a motorcycle institute here in Phoenix.
They were on my show once.
Absolutely. Universal Technical Institute. There's all kind of schools here. So believe it or not, there's over 52 different colleges and universities in Phoenix.
It's amazing. And you can specialize. It doesn't matter what area that you pretty much can help anyone in any area.
Yeah, because I would say, a regular college or university is not the right thing for everyone. Some people want to learn how to cook. Some people want to learn how to put together motorcycles. And some people want to do all kinds of stuff.
And want to be a doctor. The number to call them, it's 602-824-2299. It's RulonFinancial.com. I implore everybody. I know how people realize how expensive it is to go. And some people don't even go to college because it's too expensive, which is sad.
Yeah, in fact, let me give you a case. I was talking at one of the local high schools, and before I started talking, one of the janitors came up to me, and he said, my son didn't get to go to college. I said, why not? Did you fill out your FAFSA? Because I said, based on your income that you just told me, he would have been eligible for a Pell Grant, believe it or not.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
Now, you can call in here. He does free consultations, so we're going to offer that to the people that call in. Our number here, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100, or call them direct, 602-824-2299. We have a little time here, so College Scholarship Service.
Actually, there's about 200 schools in the U.S. These are where the Harvards and the Yales and the Stanfords come into play. A lot of these schools, the key is getting in. Once you get into some of these schools, guess what? They pay all of your family need. So as we've talked about on previous shows, there's a key formula for college. It's called the cost of attendance. That's your cost all in for college. And by the way, don't leave out things like transportation and meals and even your living expenses. Your living expenses can be up to half the cost of college, believe it or not.
That's amazing. Don't forget about supplies. I mean, there's just even that alone. And the books, how much do the books cost? One book could be $150.
Absolutely. In fact, books, $1,000 to $1,500 a year just for the books. And guess what? We don't even get real books anymore. They put them on these things called a tablet.
It's sad. Okay, now we've got the number to write down. He will do a free consultation with you. It's 602-824-2299. He can help anyone from anywhere. You can also call in here and I'll get you connected with him, and you're going to get that free consultation as well from me. My number, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. How do we get Uncle Sam to pay for college?
Well, Carol, as we approach the end of the year here, a lot of people are doing tax planning. And you know what? Uncle Sam actually has some tax credits embedded in the tax code to help pay for college. The first one we know of is called the American Opportunity Credit. And the wonderful thing about that is if your tax credit ends up being more than taxes you owe, it's a refundable credit. That means you get some cash in hand.
Wow.
So do you really care whether you get the money back from the college? You get it back from Uncle Sam, a dollar's a dollar.
Well, I'll tell you something. If you have a child that is, or even if you yourself, you don't have to have a child. It could be you yourself that wants to go back to college, or, like we said, grad school. Or if your child is showing that interest, please call him. Do not do what I did. I didn't know you. And it was really sad because these kids really, you owe it for life. You don't, it doesn't go away. That's something that doesn't go away. And it's expensive. It's not easy to have to pay. My daughter became a teacher, and I think her loans are like about $300 a month. She only makes $400 a week, so it's really she doesn't have the money. So it's really hard. You need to make sure that you give him a call. Just check him out. He'll do a free consultation for you at 602-824-2299. His website is RulonFinancial.com, or you can call in here and I'll get you connected with him at 602-277-5369. One more thing before we go to a break, because we're almost going to go. Tell us what we want to talk about.
Well, another thing in the tax code that's very interesting, anybody heard of non-taxable fringe benefits? There's actually a benefit in the tax code where your employer can pay up to $5,000 of your college absolutely tax-free.
Wow, it's amazing. What else? One more minute.
Well, another place sometimes people borrow money for college is from their 401k or 403b plans.
Is that a good idea?
It's not always a good idea because we're giving up the opportunity cost of future earnings. But then again, we know parents when they're in their moments of panic, sometimes that's the only source of funds they have to pay for school.
Right. Well, here's what the thing is that they can call you and they can talk to you and you can help them. You will find, I bet you every person that you talk to, you've helped them to be able to save money.
That's my goal, to leave people with a smile.
And what he is doing, he's what he does here is he's giving you an education on education. Our lines are open here, and everyone's going to get that entered in to get the free consultation. You could call me at 602-277-5369, or you could call him direct. Write this number down. I think everyone should have it, 602-824-2299. It's RulonFinancial.com. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute. We're back. We're talking with Scott Rulon, and he is teaching us an education on education. And so many people go through college, and we have these loans that just stay with us. You don't have to have them, because that is what he specializes in teaching you how to get through college scot-free, practically, right?
That's
what did you
the goal.
say? You said something one time when you came on, when it pays. Something about it. What's your tagline? I forget.
Get Scott, it pays.
Exactly. Believe me, listen to me. Anybody who is thinking about going to college, has a child that's going to college, whatever it is, you've got to call him first. That number is 602-824-2299. You're going to get a free consultation, and you call in here, and I'll get you connected with him, too. We were talking, I want to go into some of these things about Uncle Sam and how to help let them help us pay for college. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that there's a lifetime learning credit. Does that mean you have to be a perpetual student?
Not today. However, what that means is that's another way to get a credit for college. And so for the first couple $1,000s you pay into college, you can get about $1,500 off on your college. It's a great thing because, again, guess what? Uncle Sam is giving you the money for just paying tuition.
Nice for them to do something for us once in a while.
We need everything that we could get.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. I guarantee you a lot of people don't even realize that that's available to them. You specialize in this. Why you? Why you?
You know, one of the things that when we talk about taxes and stuff like that most people don't understand, there actually is a limit on the income to where you can take some of these credits. So sometimes what we're going to do is you are self-employed. Guess what you can do? You can hire your student or your son or daughter, and guess what? Are their tax rates higher or lower than yours?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't even know. My daughter just started working, so I don't know.
They're probably lower than yours. So if we hire our student to work in our company, their taxes are probably only in the 10 or 15% bracket, where yours is probably in the 25 or 35% bracket.
What a great idea.
We call that tax arbitrage, or as I like to call it, we call it a tax scholarship. So
I call it smart.
Well, and if mom and dad make too much money, let's say mom and dad together, or mom or dad makes more than $160,000, you're not eligible for those credits. So sometimes what we're going to do is we're going to give up our exemption in the past, and when we hire our son or daughter, because they make less income, they get to take the tax credits.
Wow. Again, this is the reason why you need to listen to Scott. That number is 602-824-2299. He's offering the people to get a free consultation. It's 1 hour that you're going to talk with them. You can either call in here at 602-277-5369 or call them direct. I implore everybody, I believe everybody should have this number. And again, we want to talk. We're talking grad school today. We also have kids that are going to school. It could be junior college. It could be a trade college, anything. So he can help. And the number is 602-824-2299. It's RulonFinancial.com. 5 ways to pay for college.
You know, one of the things that I really want parents to know, I don't want them to be sitting up at midnight the day before their son or daughter's tuition is due saying, how are we going to pay for that? Because sometimes you make really bad decisions at the 11th hour. And so I like to teach you the 5 traditional ways to pay for college. One of them is pretty obvious, pay as you go. Now, most people can't do that. I would tell you maybe only 40% of the people I talk to have saved some money for college, but I would tell you a full 90% of the people need some help from somewhere. And so other ways that we talk to them about how to come up with college stuff, we talk to them about college loans. So there's really about 4 basic types of college loans. There's Stafford and Perkins loans, and the great thing about those is for mom and dad, you don't have to co-sign on them. So if little Sally or Johnny doesn't pay their college loan, you are off the hook. You don't have to pay a dime of that.
Right. Thank God for that.
Absolutely. The second type of loan is called a Parent Plus loan. Parent Plus loan, guess when you have to start paying on that? You have to start paying that on immediately. So if you're talking about the Stafford or Perkins loans, you don't have to start paying on those until 6 months after son or daughter graduates from college. And there's a couple of kinds. There's the subsidized and unsubsidized version. Subsidized means the government pays the interest for you until 6 months after you get out of school. The unsubsidized means the interest is accruing, but you still have to start paying on principal and interest by the time your son or daughter gets out of school. If we're talking the Parent Plus loans, we know that we have to start paying those immediately. But how many of you have gotten a mortgage and seen that little thing called origination fee? Guess what? On the Parent Plus loans and the private loans, you have to pay an origination fee on that money right away.
Ooh.
And so the worst thing that I see sometimes is a parent will come to me years down the line, and they're literally paying $3,000 to $4,000 a month for their son or daughter to go to college. And they're coming to me and say, isn't there another way that we can do this? Guess what? A lot of these college loans, they don't go away in bankruptcy. They stay with you forever.
Right. So is there anything for the people that are listening that's saying, oh my God, I wish I could go to him? Once they've gone through college and they're getting those bills, is it too late?
No, there actually are some things they can do. They can change over to private loan. But the bad thing about the private loans is they have a variable interest rate. That's like an adjustable rate mortgage that every time interest rates go up, guess what happens to your college loan too?
Yeah, it's really sad. It's
Yes.
hard. And we want people to go to college. We really do.
Right.
But it's extraordinarily expensive to do, even if you're in state.
Absolutely. So these days we call it criminally expensive. So most people don't understand that the average stay in college these days is pretty close to 5.8 years. And so if we look at most of the Arizona universities, all in, including everything, we're talking $28,000 to $29,000 a year. Let's multiply that times just 4. What if you have more than one kid? Let's multiply it times another 2 or 3. So you're talking probably $300,000 to $400,000 in debt before your son or daughter even gets a job.
I know, it's really sad, but you know what? We all want to go to school. We want to get that education. We're not saying that you shouldn't, but you can get there. It's almost scot-free by knowing Scott.
There's always a way to do it. And even with room and board, remember you can always be a resident assistant your sophomore year. Now granted, there is a lot of competition for those kind of things, but once you understand that half the cost of college is probably room and board, so if you really want to be a resident assistant, many of the colleges will actually pay for that portion for you as long as you're willing to work as resident assistant.
Do you think that people should go to junior college first? Is it for, or one of my daughters did, and it was better, a little better.
So we call that the 2x2 plan. And so the interesting thing there is we're talking like Glendale Community College as an example. The tuition there is somewhere between $3,500 and $4,000 a year. Guess what? Savings of $25,000 a year, by the way, by just going there. But a lot of them have deals with ASU, U of A, and NAU where you can get up to 60 hours of your education at the junior college. And NAU even has some programs where you can get up to 90 hours of your junior college stuff before you even get to NAU.
Now, again, you should write this number down. It's important. I think everyone should have it. 602-824-2299. It's RulonFinancial.com. I understand that you are also doing career planning now.
You know, I think career planning is an important aspect when you're trying to get your son or daughter into college. Some of them know right away. So my son looked up in the sky one day, saw an airplane. He said, that's what I want to do. I want to build airplanes. But not everybody does that. So when I talk to most teenagers, they can definitely tell me what they don't want to do. So we find what we call career clusters, and we actually have them sit down and look through 200 jobs and cross off every one they don't want to do. And so most of the time, that leaves the stuff that they do want to do. And so usually we can find 2 or 3 different majors there. So it'd be important to find a college that offers the major that you want. And what if my son or daughter switches midstream? So if my son or daughter was in the liberal arts program at the University of Santa Barbara and they wanted to change to a business degree, so sorry, University of California, Santa Barbara does not offer a business degree.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there are many schools that they may not offer the type of degree program that your son or daughter might switch to.
So I think that's awesome because that's something that you will look at and check out for them, everything. So you can really start with them. I mean, anybody you said, again, the best time for them to call you is when?
Immediately.
I agree. I couldn't agree more with you. What are your final words?
You know what? I always like to say you need an education on education because the college planning process takes somewhere for most families between 100 and 200 hours for them to figure that out. Those are real numbers. Those have been measured and time tested.
Well, not only have you done it for your own son, I know that you've also helped a lot of people out there that are listening. You've been on their show for a few times now, and I believe that everybody should at least have that consultation with you. It's an hour long, and you'll find out exactly how he can save you money. It is an education on education, and I love it. I love listening to you, and there are so many ways, and I only wish, I say this every time, I only wish I knew you before my kids went to, started to go to college.
Right.
And so, guys, it's important. Write the number down. You can call in here, too, and I'm going to get you connected with him at 602-277-5369, and toll-free, it's 1-866-536-1100, or call him direct. That number is 602, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice, 602-824-2299. It's RulonFinancial.com.